Welcome to another edition of Breakfast Time with Waffle and Richard. I'm your host, Richard Martin, joined by Waffle as usual. And Waffle, I gotta say, I bet the big home field order came in because the tax return and payment from working a basketball tournament all hit at once. So we had to blow it all on stuff we don't need, but we do need the soft, comfortable shirts. Got the Strut of Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
St. Peter's shirt. Also have the St. Peter's joggers on. These are very, very comfortable.
Yes, I have my South Carolina home field shirt on because Go Cox, they won the women's national title. So we are excited to talk all about that. But yeah, home field, we love you. We still love you. We hadn't shouted you out in a while, but we're still here and we're still supporting.
Did you get the email about the survey or whatever?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. I think my last line I put, please put Clemson. Please have Clemson so I can go broke. I'm pretty sure it was my exact word.
I put please. I'm waiting on Duke. Please, God.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Of course, he said South Carolina wins the women's national championship, and we'll get into that too. But we'll start off with the men's championship. That was crowned just last night from when we're recording this on a Tuesday. And we'll go back. We need to catch up with you because when we left off, we had started Sweet 16. We'll start with Duke's region, the West region first. And, a lot of people kind of thought, oh, Duke will get to the Sweet 16, and that'll be about it. Good, solid run for Coach K. And they take on a good Texas Tech team. And they end up beating the Red Raiders 78-73. Thanks to down the stretch, making their free throws, 15-17. For Duke down the stretch with free throws. They forced 8 turnovers, got 6 blocks as well. They held Adonis Arms in check. He only had 13 points. Paolo Banchero, another good game, 22 points, 4 rebounds. But Mark Williams, 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks, kind of put them away. Everybody that started for Duke was in double digits. Only 2 bench points for Duke. That came from Theo John.
Yeah.
So that was a game where the starters really carried the Duke team, and they kind of willed them to a win.
Yeah, for sure. Duke played really well in this one. Now, this one, for me, I was dragged to Frankie's Fun Park. So I say dragged, but that's a great place. Who doesn't want to go there?
Yeah.
And while I was hitting jackpots on games and winning tickets, I was watching on my phone. So it wasn't as intent of a watch as I would have liked, but I did watch Duke take this one. And yeah, a great effort from Banchero. And we talked about it, and I've said it before that. If you compare him to other one and dones at Duke, he would be really low on my list.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the fact that, he is obviously a very good player, but he hasn't really impressed me like I can vividly remember, Jason Tatum or Jabari Parker back in 2013 and Marvin Bagley, how dominant Jahlil Okafor, the list goes on. But with Banchero, there's just I hadn't seen – I felt like what I needed to see. But during this tournament and this game, 7 of 12, 3 of 4 from deep, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 of 6 from the line, 3 steals. I was very impressed with Paolo this game. And we'll talk about it a little bit more as we keep going. But throughout the tournament, I'm a full believer with Paolo now. I think he is a great player. I wish he could have, done a little bit more during the regular season. But he has the Final Four under his belt, which is a lot more than a lot of other one and dones that Duke can say.
Yeah.
But this was a great game for Paolo and Mark Williams as well. Duke got it done in a very tough game against a good Texas Tech team.
Yeah, for sure. So the other side of that bracket, this was the only bracket that was really 1, 2, 3, 4. The other side, you have Gonzaga and Arkansas playing each other, and everybody's and I'm including me. I was like, okay, this is the year Gonzaga's going to get it done. And once again, they run to a buzzsaw. This time it was the Arkansas Razorbacks. They keep Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren still had 11 points and 14 boards, but that still feels, for what he was doing, that feels disappointing.
Yeah.
What he had done. And then Drew Timme still had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. But really, that was the only two players that Gonzaga had going for them consistently throughout this game. Arkansas, J.D. Notae had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Just stuffing the stat sheet was Notae. And Arkansas pulls off the upset. And, what Erica Musselman has done down there, turning that program around, is huge. And down to knock off the number 1 overall seed in Gonzaga.
Yeah, definitely surprising to see another Gonzaga team come up short. But, that's just kind of the narrative now. But props to Arkansas. Arkansas was an old team. They had a lot of experience, and it definitely showed. And they got all the way to the Elite Eight and took down the number 1 overall seed. So props to Arkansas. They played really well.
Yeah, for sure. Now that's one of those things that's going to be a knock on Mark Few and all these teams where, especially the past 2 years now. Last year went to the championship game and came up short. Now this year, we thought that team was just as good, if not better, and they come up short this time in Sweet 16. So interesting to see, because you got to think Chet Holmgren's probably going to be one and done. He's probably going to be gone. Drew Timme, I believe, is gone, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was his last year. If not, he's probably got one more year left. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Of course, they're going to get those recruits out west, of course, as they always do. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mark Few and the Zags next year. So you move on to the Elite Eight of the West bracket. Arkansas and Duke, a rematch of, I believe, Final Four in a title game way back. And you talk about
national championship game in 1994.
Yeah, talk about Coach K's career, talk about some big games, and everybody's bringing that up. And so everybody's kind of wondering, okay, well, is this going to be it? Arkansas's got a chance to end it. And Coach K stays alive with his team as they just really dominated this game for the most part. The Duke ended up pulling away late and got the 78-69 victory of the Razorbacks. Duke held Arkansas just 6 of 20 from beyond the arc. The 34 rebounds, big difference. To the 25 by the Razorbacks. That was the big difference there too. And kind of slowed down this team a little bit. J.D. Notae did have 14 points, but it was just 5 of 14 from the field. And again, this was another Duke game where Paolo Banchero took over 16 points, 7 rebounds, and then Mark Williams 12 points and 12 rebounds, a double-double right there. And
didn't miss a shot.
Yeah, didn't miss a single shot, and 6 of 6 from the floor. And so Duke, and then even from the bench, Trevor Keels had 9 points off the bench for the Devils. So only played 7 players. Theo John played 5 minutes, but this was one of those games where Duke kind of imposed their will and imposed their size, because Arkansas just really couldn't handle that. And you had to think, I think we talked about when if they would play each other, that's what Duke needed to do. And they did just that and got to the Final Four for the first time. It feels like a while Duke has gotten to the Final Four.
Yeah, first time since 2015 when they won it all. So
Yep. So got to the Final Four. West Region champs were the Duke Blue Devils, Coach K's last season. So who would they meet? Well, get to the Sweet 16, and you got a big-time battle between two blue bloods, and you'll hear that phrase several times here, but North Carolina and UCLA meeting up in the tournament. You feel like these teams have met up before a lot in the tournament. They have a historic history, and North Carolina goes back and forth, and then the second half just pulls away from the Bruins, gets 73-66 victory. Caleb Love went insane in this game, 30.6 three-pointers.
Yeah.
3 rebounds, 4 assists. Armando Bacot, 14 points and 15 rebounds. And, of course, Brady Manick, he's the whole reason this team is even made the tournament, I think. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Big time day for the Tar Heels when they needed them most. They held Zhang kind of in check toward the end. He went just 5-13 from the field, but had 14 points. Stop Jaquez Jr., he had just 10 points, and Tiger Campbell really couldn't do it all himself. And that was the difference, as the North Carolina just pulled by UCLA. North Carolina, in the regular season, they were the hottest team in the country. I just haven't lost to Virginia Tech in the tournament, ACC tournament, but then they just caught fire after that loss to Pitt.
Yeah, for sure. And then North Carolina had already been playing great basketball, and you get 30 points out of Caleb Love, and they're definitely hard to beat. And just it's blown my mind how good they turned out to be. Because I mean, there was a lot of questions during the regular season, and there was a lot of there were a couple really head scratching losses.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one to Pitt comes to mind, and then obviously in the ACC tournament they got throttled by Virginia Tech, who ended up being pretty hot themselves. But yeah, North Carolina and playing pretty much five players. Like I mean, that starting five, they don't look to bring them out. Now, obviously they will if they need anything. But I mean, if those guys can go 40 minutes, Hubert Davis is going to have them play 40 minutes. And they're as good as any other five in the country, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. That was just insane run by that team and kept it going strong. But on the other side, you have Purdue, team that's looking for some redemption, I believe. You got to think, especially since a couple of years ago, lost to Virginia and sort of a chance to go to the title game. We're looking to build something off of that, taking on the strut of destiny, the St. Peter's Peacocks. And I think a lot of people thought, Purdue's got a lot of size. They're going to handle their business against St. Peter's. St. Peter's, this is how the dream ends. And I remember I worked a baseball game, and you texted me, and all you said was literally just St. Peter's. And I was like, what? Yep. And I got the score update. St. Peter's knocks off Purdue 67-64, become the first ever 15 seed to reach the NCAA Elite Eight in the men's tournament. I think that's the lowest seed ever to reach the Elite Eight because 16 seed hasn't. And so insane to see this run come from the Peacocks. Just wow. You have Indefo, who only had 4 points but had 4 assists and had 3 rebounds and a steal. Banks had 14 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. And then Doug Eddert only had 10 points but made a big-time 3, which it seemed like he always does. It was the only field goal he made. Everything else was from the free throw line. And then, of course, down the stretch, the Peacocks went 19-21 from the free throw line. They kept Eddie, the tall center for this team, Purdue team. Everybody thought, this is going to give him trouble. He only had 11 points and only 2 boards.
Yeah.
So that's big. And also Hunter played 30 minutes, had 0 points.
Yeah.
5 rebounds. So those Peacocks, their defense just shut down Purdue, which I don't think anybody had predicted. But, man, just insane from the Peacocks in this one.
Yeah, for sure. The true definition of a Cinderella story, and holding Eddie to 11 points and 2 rebounds. It's wild, unreal. Because this is a game where he should have taken over, but they did a great job against him.
Yep. So then St. Peter's gets to the Elite Eight, and unfortunately North Carolina ruins everything. They always do. They roll 69-49. Over the Peacocks, never looks back to the Tar Heels. You kind of had to think this was going to happen. It did. Armando Bacot, another big game, 20 points, 22 rebounds, an assist, and 2 blocks. That's the game you thought Eddie would have against St. Peter's.
Right.
It was Armando Bacot. Manick had 19 points and 8 boards. Love had 14 and 4. Leahy Black only had 5 points, but also had 4 boards and 5 assists. The Stars took over, and I think we talked about that in the first 2 rounds where, this game's going to be close, and the Stars took over. And the Stars took over for sure for the Tar Heels, and then just St. Peter's just could not get anything to go. They couldn't handle the size, but you have to give it up for Shaheen Holloway and that team. They were the 4 seed in the MAC. Then they had to upset Iona with Rick Pitino in the first round of the tournament, and then win the MAC tournament just to get here. And now I think there's the thread I talked about where it talks about all the struggles they've had with the athletic department at St. Peter's, the lack of funding they have. They just built a brand new arena and had to play a D3 school last year. And it's just crazy to see all of that build up, and St. Peter's gets to the Elite Eight. It's insanity. This run may never happen again. May never happen again for St. Peter's ever.
Right.
Because their coach just left for Seton Hall, and 3 of their best players are probably transferring there too. So this St. Peter's may never reach this again. But you know what? For right now, it's the greatest moment ever. And if you're a St. Peter's graduate or a current student, you're always going to remember this.
Mm-hmm. It's why the NCAA tournament is just the best.
Right.
You don't get this in other sports.
Right. Like, you talk about football, everybody talks about expanding the playoff. You're not going to get this if Texas State or somebody makes it. You're not going to get that happen. Football is such a different sport and all this stuff.
Right.
Baseball and softball may have it, but those aren't watched as much as basketball. But this is the biggest stage, and good for St. Peter's for sure, and good for the Metro Atlantic. So it's one side of the bracket. We'll go over to the South Regional. Sweet 16, another 1 seed, looking to move on, stay alive, but the Arizona Wildcats, they had some trouble against TCU,
mm-hmm.
and then they have to take on Houston. And Houston, Kelvin Sampson never count out the Cougars. They had kind of sleptwalk through the end of the season, but won the American, and then they wake up and knock off Arizona 72-60. Just insane to see that. The Ferns still had a good game with 15 points and 4 boards, but the Cougars just shed with 21 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. Edwards was 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. I feel like Houston every time they make the tournament is always good for at least one upset, and this was a huge one.
Yeah, for sure. Arizona coming off that crazy ending against TCU.
Mm-hmm.
TCU took them to the brink. Arizona overcame that, but they ran into Houston and they couldn't do anything about it with a 12-point loss. So props to Houston there, but another 1 seed gone.
Yeah. So right there, you had almost all of them gone, except at that point, all of them were gone except for Kansas. So we'll move, and we'll get to them later. But look at the other side. You have Villanova and Michigan. And Michigan kind of proving everybody wrong. A lot of people, including me, said they didn't deserve to be in the tournament this year. Mm-hmm. They kind of struggled this year, but they were 11 seed, got to the Sweet 16. And Villanova just toward the end just kind of pulled away late and were able to get this win over the Wolverines. Dickinson still had a heck of a game, 15 points and 15 boards, 3 assists and 2 blocks. He got his, but between Samuels and Gillespie and Moore for Villanova, that's just a 3-headed monster for the Wildcats, and they just Jay Wright teams never count out a Jay Wright coach team.
You're right.
They have won 2 national championships since 2016, and so every year they're going to be dangerous no matter what they do in the Big East.
Yeah, for sure. Great run by Michigan. Obviously, a lot of turmoil with that team and what happened with Juwan Howard towards the end of it. But props to them for I guess, putting that to rest and, not letting that distract them as they went into the tournament and knocking off Colorado State and then knocking off Tennessee, who was my national champion. So, props to Michigan for getting there. But Villanova, like you said, you can't count Jay Wright out. He's one of the best coaches in the in college basketball, and it shows. 2 national championships in the last 6 years. So you can never count them out.
Absolutely. So that brings us to a Villanova-Houston battle. This was the defensive battle in the Elite Eight between these teams, and unfortunately, you see getting hurt for Villanova is Justin Moore. Gets hurt in this game toward the end. Which you just absolutely hate to see, especially when he's played so well in this tournament.
Yeah,
but guys had to step up, and Daniels off the bench stepped up Villanova with 12 points, 2 3-pointers that were big for the Wildcats. What was a tough defensive grind to that battle, and I think we talked about it with South Carolina women against Miami. These are games you have to win this tournament because you're not going to get the best scoring effort every night.
Right.
Such a lull for 3 weeks, and Villanova found a way to win, and they were able to punch their ticket back to another Final Four.
Yeah, for sure. This was a very bad shooting night for both teams. Villanova shooting 28% and Houston shooting 29%, but Houston goes 1 of 20 from deep. And that's really the difference in this game. Everything else is pretty even. So winning those defensive battles, you got to win games like this. Villanova with Jay Wright, they were able to do it.
Yep, absolutely. So move on down. Villanova's in. You move down to finally the Midwest region. You have Kansas and Providence. And Providence, everybody kind of said they were one of the luckiest teams in basketball. They shouldn't be here because how lucky they were in the regular season. They had the squeak by South Dakota State, but then they put the beat down on Richmond. So a lot of people thought maybe Providence knows what they're doing, but Kansas just too good. Holds off the Friars. Kansas made 20 of 28 from the free throw line. Also had 11 blocks with the Jayhawks, including 4 by Agbaji, who didn't have a lot of scoring, but made his presence known defensively. Wilson had 16 points and 11 rebounds as well. Braun with 6 points and 10 rebounds. Just inside, Kansas was just able to pester and bother Providence. Al Durham got his 21 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, but he just 1 of 5 from 3. That's kind of a weird game for him. But the Providence stayed in it because of him. But Kansas, their size was just too big and too much for the Friars.
Yeah, I wasn't a believer in Providence. Like I just had them losing in the first round to South Dakota State, which I think was a trendy pick. But they come out and they wax Richmond by 28. And they did put up a good fight with Kansas, so props to Providence. But yeah, Kansas after squeaking by against Creighton, squeaks by again against Providence and puts themselves into the Elite Eight. So yeah, good effort from them.
Yeah. So who would they meet? Well, it's Miami and Iowa State, 2 teams who probably didn't think it would be this far when everybody's filling out the bracket, the 10 seed, 11 seed.
Battle of the natural disasters, baby.
In the Windy City.
Look
at that with Cameron McGusty.
These jokes write themselves.
Exactly. That's why they pay us the small bucks here. But McGusty did have a good game, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals. Miami just destroyed Iowa State in this one. They had 21 assists, 11 steals, of course, 18 turnovers. Miami struggled early in this one, but then once they started getting cooking, they were rolling. Jim Larinaga is another coach I would never count out because even though Isaiah Wong didn't have a great game, you have McGusty, you have Miller, you have Wardenberg. Those 3 guys all stepped up big. And, again, props to Iowa State. They won 2 games in 2021, and then to come here all the way to Sweet 16, that's huge for them.
Yeah. The committee really slept on the ACC. Now, we're not going to talk about Virginia Tech. But Miami getting in with the 10 seed, I felt like was really low. I thought Miami was a lot better than that 10 seed. And then obviously Notre Dame too.
The first 4.
Notre Dame getting to the first 4 and then winning, the first 4 and winning first round, getting to the round of 32. And then putting up a great fight with Texas Tech, by the way.
Yeah.
And then obviously Duke coming out of their side. People didn't think that because it was with Gonzaga. And nobody thought North Carolina was going to come out of that out of the East. So people really slept on the ACC this year. But Miami put a beat down on Iowa State, proving that hurricanes are more devastating than cyclones.
I guess so. So there you go. You have that, and it sets up Miami and Kansas for a trip to the Final Four. And early, this looked like Miami was going to roll. We're going to have a 3-team ACC Final Four.
Yeah.
It was looking like that, and then Miami just decided that we're good. We're going to put it in park. And Kansas, you cannot do that against a good team. Kansas woke up. Kansas also forced Miami to just 3 of 21 from deep. Agbaji had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. Wilson with 5 points and 11 rebounds. Braun with 12 points, 6 rebounds. McCormick, 15 points, 4 rebounds. Their guys got going. Remy Martin off the bench got going. 9 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. And just Isaiah Long and McGusty this time are doing great, but Wardenberg couldn't get anything going for the Canes. And neither could Joseph off the bench. So,
yeah,
just a tale of two halves again. And Kansas pulls away for 76-50 victory. But like you said, I think Miami was underseeded for sure. And I think they probably should have been one of those higher seeds. And, who knows if they would have gotten this far if they had to run into possibly. But
right.
still, though, I think this was a very good Miami team. You saw it against Duke. You saw it against North Carolina. They beat them pretty good in the regular season. At one point, I think Miami was first in the ACC.
Yeah, they were.
They just had a bad stretch toward the end. But, yeah, this was a good Miami team. They just, at the worst time possible, just stopped scoring. Yeah,
for sure. And props to Kansas. I mean, this was Miami's game at halftime, and Kansas absolutely flipped a total switch and ends up winning by 26. So, props to Kansas, but hate to see the run in for Miami here, but it was time.
Yeah. So you get to the Final Four. Your Final Four is Kansas, Villanova, and then for the first time ever, Duke and North Carolina meeting in the NCAA tournament, the biggest game of that rivalry's history. We'll start off first, though, with Kansas and Villanova because Kansas continued to build off that momentum against Miami, and they wore out for Villanova too, but still – just Kansas rolls over the Wildcats, 81-65. Yeah. Never in doubt. I think Villanova got as close as 8 toward the final 7 minutes, but after that, Kansas pulled away. McCormick with 25 points, 9 rebounds. Agbaji with 21 points, 2 rebounds. Wilson, 11 points and 12 rebounds. Just the guys that you expect to show up against, stars show up. And the stars show up for Kansas. Again, heck of a season for Villanova. Having to overcome a loss of a great player so in the year is tough. But, man, just great job by Kansas to, again, just continue to dominate. And they quietly won the best 1 seeds, I think, in a while. Just going out and dominating everybody, and they did just that.
Yeah, Kansas shot an ungodly percentage. They shot 53% from the floor and 54% from downtown. They were hot, unbelievably hot. They came out of the gates and got up like 15-2. And then once Villanova settled in, Villanova shot 38% overall, but 41% from deep. Villanova did get it going from the 3-point line, and that kind of kept them in the mix. Like, you never know, like, okay, maybe Villanova can come back and they can make this a game. And they tried, and they almost got there. Yeah. But Kansas, just an unbelievable shooting night for them. And like you said, Agbaji goes 6 of 8 overall, 6 of 7 from downtown, just unconscious from beyond the 3-point arc for him. And McCormick getting anything he wants down low, going 10 of 12. And also Remy Martin off the bench pouring in 20 points. So, yeah, Kansas really dominated pretty much this whole game. Weathered Villanova's little runs and goes on to a 16-point victory in the Final Four.
Yeah, no doubt. Big win for Kansas, and they get the championship. And who they face between Duke and North Carolina, a big-time rivalry showing. Again, first time they've ever met in the NCAA tournament, the 100th time Coach K has played against North Carolina. And like we say, North Carolina ruins everything, as Duke just – first of all, the instant classic of the game. This is one of the best basketball games ever seen. Yeah. Back and forth, punch for punch they went. But Duke just could not shoot from deep, 5 of 22 to 10 of 26 North Carolina. And then down the stretch, couldn't make their free throws. And Duke falls to North Carolina 81-77. So I hate North Carolina as the team that does it. Coach K, kind of weird. Coach K's first loss ever was to North Carolina. His last game in Cameron, a loss to North Carolina, and his last loss ever was to North Carolina. So this is one where North Carolina is going to hold this over Duke fans' heads forever. But they deserve it because North Carolina, their stars showed out. Armando Bacot, 11 points, 21 rebounds. Caleb Love, 28 points and 4 rebounds. And then Brady Manick, 14 points as well. Just the guys that – and then, of course, RJ Davis, 18 points and 7 rebounds. The guy's been kind of quiet this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up and came alive. And Leaky Black, who has been quiet all year, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists.
Yeah, two big 3-pointers. He's not a shooter. He's not an offensive guy, but early in that game, he hit 2 3-pointers that turned out, to be the difference.
Yep. And, of course, Paolo Banchero, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. He got his, but it was kind of like who's going to help step up. Wendell Moore didn't really do a whole lot. AJ Griffin then, and Mark Williams went kind of quiet, 8 points and 4 rebounds, and missed 2 big free throws that would have kept the game tied or given the lead, actually.
Yeah.
At the moment. We made it 77-75, so it would have changed kind of the complexion of that game at late in the game, but missed both those free throws, and North Carolina ends up hitting a 3, and that wins it, basically. So just, and then, of course, Trevor Keels, though, he tried it off the bench, 19 points. He had a good night, but, man, this is just one of those where North Carolina just found a way, I think.
Yeah.
Hubert Davis, I like Hubert Davis a lot. I do like Hubert Davis a lot. I hate that he's very likable.
Yes, I agree.
But he's a guy that, remember a few weeks ago, everybody was like, oh, we should have hired him. Wish Roy was back.
Yeah.
And got this team together. And after that loss to Pitt, really again got hot. They got into the tournament and made an effort and got to the national championship in his first year. So props to them. And then, of course, it ends the career of the greatest men's basketball coach, I think, of all time. John Wooden, of course, is going to be up there for all the championships he won and all that. And you can make arguments for, Dean Smith and a lot of other coaches, but the consistency of Duke over the years, constantly making tournaments, constantly being a threat in the ACC. And Coach K builds them up to powerhouse. I mean, Duke was horrible in basketball. And if you watch again, we talk about the class that saved Coach K. That group that really he probably would have gotten fired for about 3 years, but Duke stayed with it and they turned him around. And has the most NCAA tournament wins of all time, the most trips to the Final Four of all time, most wins by a coach, man or woman, in Division I basketball, and just countless NBA players that come from there. So, again, it would be weird seeing John Shire as the head coach and not Coach K. I think Duke's embracing him. He's already got number 1 class coming in next year. So yeah, it's going to be weird. It's disappointing how it ended, of course, especially of who it ended to. But Coach K just got thank Coach K for everything. Enjoy retirement, sir. Well deserved.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said about the game. So once again, just like in 2018 when Zion and RJ, Cam Reddish, all them boys was on the team, it ends up being free throws that ultimately come back to bite us. But it's not just free throws,
right?
I mean, you look at, and like I said, it going, in the past couple of times we've done a pod, like this is Jeremy Roach's team, and also like AJ Griffin, like he's got to get going. And look at those 2 players. AJ only had 6 points. He was 1 of 7, did not hit a 3. And Jeremy Roach was 2 of 11 and did not hit a 3 as well. So when you don't get production from deep from those 2 guys, like it is going to hurt you. Wendell Moore going 4-14 obviously doesn't help either. And Mark Williams getting in foul trouble early, sitting down quick with 2. And then bringing in Theo John, and my God, Theo John had 4 fouls in the first half because the boy is a walking foul, which we knew that. We knew he was a walking foul, but you can go one of 2 ways. Once Theo John got his 3rd, I mean, you can go small, and you can put Banchero at the 5. And just run small lineup with AJ, Roach, Moore, Banchero, and Keels. But Coach K opts to keep Theo in there. It does get him his 4th foul. But, in Coach K's defense, Theo John was kind of providing a spark there. Like Theo John had 6 points, which is, typically he averages 2 points and he fouls out.
Yeah.
So, 6 points for him. on 3 or 4 shooting, and he had 4 rebounds. So he was producing out there. So I'm not upset about him not going with Theo, but having Mark Williams out, I feel like definitely threw him off. And then just the ending with missing the free throws, just it's inexcusable, and I can't stand it. And I'm so burnt from that Michigan State game in 2018 because RJ Barrett could have won that game too, and he bricked both free throws. And now RJ Barrett was a scorer when he was at Duke, and now in the NBA, he's throwing up threes and jacking up all kinds of stuff. He's turned into still a scorer, but he could actually shoot the 3 ball, which just scorns me to death. Like, God, you stupid piece of crap. Like, if you could have just hit 2 freaking free throws in 28. All right. Anyway. But yeah, Banchero had a solid night, 20 points, 10 rebounds, double for him. But not getting the production out of Roach and Griffin's definitely what did Duke in addition to the missed free throws. But yeah, it's tough. So tough. This is, like you said, the biggest game in Duke, North Carolina history as far as the stage. First time meeting in the tournament still blows my mind. I can't believe it hasn't happened at least one time. But for it to all go out like this, I mean, it is a true rivalry. Going into it, the record was Coach K had 50 wins. He had 49 losses. So, I mean, I guess it's only right for it to completely end at 50-50 because that's just how a rivalry goes. So, but, props to North Carolina. Caleb Love was still in his bag. 28 points in that massive 3-pointer at the end over Mark Williams to win the game. Like I said, Leaky Black hitting those 2 threes and pulling down 9 rebounds, scoring 8 points. Like, that is the difference. He's not a scorer. He doesn't do that. And on a night where Manic, wasn't getting as much as he normally does, he did finish with 14, but he was 4-10, and he shot 50% from downtown. But and Baycott, rolled his ankle there at the end. Ended up being okay. Tough kid, comes back in, finishes the game out. Only had 11. They held him in check as far as his scoring. He did put on 21 boards because that's what he does. But just those 2 guards, Davis and Love, are unbelievable for North Carolina. And Caleb Love really, really turned into a superstar over the course of these last 3-4 games. But props to North Carolina. Sucks to see Duke go out this way. As far as Coach K, man, it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah,
it's been great, and I've obviously haven't been alive for the majority of it, and I've probably been an avid Duke fan and watched games religiously for maybe 12, no, more than that, maybe 13, 14 years, so only a small sample size of his whole career, but it's been amazing. I still remember you and me, Richard, watching the national title game against Butler at the house, and that shot Gordon Hayward almost went in, but it didn't, and Duke was the king of the dance, as Jim Nett said. And then going to college and our freshman year watching Duke beat Wisconsin in the national title game with that terrific trio of Justice, and Tyus Stones. And the emergence of Grayson Allen. Like, there's been so many great players to come through, so many great storylines, tons of wins. There's been heartbreaking losses. I mean, a couple early exits in the tournament. So, but it's been a hell of a ride, and I hate to see it end, but Duke is not going anywhere. Coach K built this program, like you said. Duke wasn't. They weren't like a poverty organization, a poverty basketball school necessarily. Before he got there, but they was nowhere near what it was going to become. Yeah. And that classic save Coach K with Jay Billis and all them guys is really a great thing and a great documentary if you haven't seen it. But and then going on, obviously, in the early 90s with getting Leitner, Grant Hill, Bobby Hurley, all these boys to go to 4 straight Final Fours.
Yeah.
Take home 2 crowns, and then, rebuild it, come back with Jay Williams, Shane Battier, Corey Maggette, win another title in 2001. Get all these players, JJ, Sheldon Williams, all these boys, even Greg Paulus, the former
Syracuse quarterback, Greg Paulus.
But man, it's been an unbelievable ride. But Duke is not going anywhere. Coach K built this program. John Shire has been with this program, I think, for almost a combined 10 years now between his playing days and coaching seasons. And I'm excited. I'm very excited for John Shire era. I think him being a younger guy, obviously he's going to have a lot of his style. I'm sure is going to be modeled after Coach K. So I don't think a whole lot necessarily is going to change. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's already got the #1 class. Like, I'm ready to go. Let's get it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what his style looks like. It's going to be nice to see. One thing I'm wondering, will tickets to Cameron lower in price finally? Is there a
I hope
chance?
so because
I
you and
wanted
I
to
would love to go.
Yeah, never got to see Coach K coach in Cameron, but I'd love to just see Duke play in Cameron. I've seen him play at
Right.
Greenville and in Clemson. That's it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, it'll be great to see them play in Cameron. But of course, I hate it. My alma mater, Gardner Webb, plays there this year, and of course, it's like, oh, I might be able to sneak my way there. Oh, Coach K's retiring. Yeah, nobody's going to give up any of their tickets. You know they're
Yeah,
not.
no.
That. So, and also next year's John Shire's first year, so they're probably going to be expensive then too because they're going to.
I'm sure.
Like so. And then probably, of course, Duke's probably going to keep up the standard, be pretty good. So that's you're never going to get to go see a game unless I find a way to work it.
Yeah. Well, I will say that I'm interested to see who's going to stay because this is the thing. Duke, has been doing this for years now. One and done's. Obviously, Paolo is gone. We know that, but if people like Mark Williams sticks around, if Jeremy Roach sticks around, the keys to the car belong to Jeremy Roach, and he showed you in this tournament, albeit not the last game, but he showed you in this tournament that he can lead this team. And it is if I'm John Shire, hey man, here's the keys, go, it's yours. With him, Mark Williams, and obviously all the recruits and talent they got coming in. I'm so excited. If Wendell Moore was another one and done kid, that ended up staying for 3 years. So I mean, if he can stay and round out a fourth year, that would be amazing. And that also, I miss that. I miss Duke having, even during the one and done era, having at least that one or two guys that have stuck around for 4 years that you just love and you get to know them so well. You feel like Grayson Allen, Matt Jones, Emil Jefferson, who's on the staff, those guys. John Shire, Shire, Nolan Smith, Singler. I think Smith and Singler. No, Smith was the senior. Singler left after his junior year, I think. But I would love to get back to that, but it is what it is. Whatever's going to get Duke back on the stage, holding up that trophy is what I want. So.
Yeah, for sure. Going to be a lot of pressure on John Shire, but I think he's the right man for it. And,
one more thing. Duke did lose Nolan Smith. You see, he went to Louisville.
Yeah, so that was going to be
apparently he was pretty sought after for an assistant coach. He took an assistant job at Louisville, so definitely good for Nolan Smith. But I'll miss seeing him on the side of that camera.
Yeah, remember he did nothing wrong. Tyler Hansborough should have watched what his face was.
Right.
So we'll move on now. National championship, North Carolina and Kansas. I think you figured Kansas would be here, but North Carolina, not a lot of people thought they'd make it this far, but they do. And this was a game in the first half. North Carolina, it goes back and forth. North Carolina goes on a 16-2 run. They're up by 15 at halftime, and man, everybody's to print the shirts, get all the papers out. North Carolina is your national champions, but you got to play a second half. And like Miami, North Carolina just said, you know what? We're going to stop scoring. And down the stretch, didn't score for a while. Kansas comes back. Now, North Carolina, of course, it's a big-time three. Puff Johnson, 11 points, a big three, ties the game back up. But Kansas down the stretch forces a Baycott turnover. And they are able to hold on, win this game. North Carolina does get one more because Kansas steps out of bounds.
Yeah, how stupid! I was so upset. Not even putting my fandom of or my hatred of North Carolina aside. Like, my God, how dumb! You had one job.
Yeah, and Brady Manek gets another look but misses it, and Kansas holds on 72-69. Instant classic of a championship game. It was a really fun one. That
Mm-hmm.
game of runs and then went back and forth toward the end.
Yeah.
Obaji only had 12 points and 3 rebounds, but this time it was Remy Martin off the bench, 14 points, had 4 of 6 from deep and
Mm-hmm.
3 rebounds. It's kind of funny. 2 years in a row when he was at Arizona State, he eliminated Kansas from the NCAA tournament, and then now wins the title with them. So
Yeah.
kind of funny to see how that works out. I feel for Braun too.
Mm-hmm.
For Kansas, he's from Kansas, a local kid, grew up an hour away from Lawrence. Wanted to play for the Jayhawks, and that's 12 points and 12 boards in a championship game. So
Yeah.
it's big time performances for Kansas. For North Carolina, Caleb Love only 13 points, went 5 of 24 from the field, just could knock anything going. Baycott had 15 and 15, only 3 field goals, had 9 free throws. RJ Davis again, 15 points. And then Brady Manick had 13 points, 13 rebounds, 3 3-pointers. He kind of kept him in this game when it started to get away from him.
Yeah. Manick, he's the type of guy, like, had he been at North Carolina for 4 years, I would have hated his guts. I would have hated him so much. But, and even being older, like, I mean, you think about the likes of, obviously, like Hansbrough, like, absolutely hated him back in the day. But Brady Manick coming over for 1 year, I mean, this kid was special. Look, I guarantee you, over half of his box scores, like, I want his percentage from 3 has to be unbelievable, because I feel like every time he's at least shooting 50% from downtown. Such a good player. His stats situation, he shot 40% from downtown, and the kid is what, 6'9", massive. He's a massive stretch four. He can do so many things for you. Manick was the cog for this team, other than Caleb Love, just going on a tear here in the tournament. But lots of shots put up here by Caleb Love, which is justified. But 5 of 24 definitely hurts you. 1 of 8 from deep for him. North Carolina out rebounded Kansas by 20, 55 to 35, with Baycott pulling down 15, Manick having 13, RJ Davis having 12. So right there's 3 double-doubles for North Carolina. And on the other side, obviously, Brian had a double-double with 12 and 12. McCormick had 15 and 10. But props to North Carolina. They had an unreal season. But the largest comeback in NCAA tournament final game in NCAA national championship history. Props to Kansas. They played great. Outscoring them 47 to 29 in the second half. I mean, they got on a run, and North Carolina didn't know how to answer. And it sucks for Baycott. Baycott, the whole game, he rolled his ankle against Duke. He definitely wasn't 100%. Still finished with a double-double. His stats for the tournament were unbelievable, averaging a double-double, ridiculous. But him rolling it there at the end of the game definitely didn't do him any favors, because Kansas went right down and threw it inside to McCormick, who ended up abusing Manick for the little hook shot, and that was what won them the game. But Baycott, you saw him roll his ankle? You see the slow-mo video of the court kind of moving?
Yeah,
that's another thing. Like, I mean, they're never going to stop playing games in football stadiums, because, as you can see, there was 69,000 people at this game. Like, I mean, it definitely warrants that.
Yeah.
But that's such an interesting thing, like the court moving. And I mean, I've stepped on Landers court before, and there's been spots that are, softer like that, but that's definitely just bad luck for Baycott, because he's turning right on that right side and he steps there, and I'm sure that did contribute to the fact that he rolled his ankle. And then if you watch that final play after Kansas turns it over, gives North Carolina one more shot to tie the game, I really feel like they're trying to run a play for Brady Manick.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to. With Caleb Love is 1 of 7 from deep at this point. Brady Manick is 3 of 6. I mean, you could honestly go with either, but it looks like they're running that play for Manick, and he steps in that exact same spot and falls. So, just terrible luck of the draw there for North Carolina, but a great run by Kansas. Bill Self getting his second title.
First since that Memphis game.
Yeah, first since that improbable comeback against Memphis with Mario Chalmers hitting that beautiful shot that sent it overtime.
Insane. All I remember about that game is Derrick Rose was on that team and then the baggy shorts for both teams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's still a lot of controversy. Kansas does have 5, sanctions against them or something like that. So a lot of people got an opinion on that, but I mean, they won. So
moral of the story is always cheat and never cooperate. Like kids, always cheat. Never do your taxes.
Exactly. Always cheat. Don't do your taxes and bring steroids back to baseball, please.
Exactly. That's how you get successful. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kansas for the next few weeks. But they're national champions, though. So for now, they can say they're the best team in basketball. And it was a crazy tournament with so many upsets. And crazy season as well. And so kind of redemption for them because, 2020, they were number 1 seed or would have been. And then COVID hit. So we'll kind of prove it. And this year they get their redemption in the first full year back after COVID. So shout out to Kansas and a heck of a men's tournament. We'll go to the women's side where when we left off, we were getting our Sweet 16, and we'll start with the Greensboro region, South Carolina, taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels, who upset Arizona. So South Carolina's taking on a good North Carolina team in Greensboro, basically a road game.
Yeah.
The Gamecocks. And South Carolina uses a big second quarter where they come back after being down by 1 in the first, come back, hold North Carolina to those 8 points, and pull away for a 69-61 victory. Aaliyah Boston had 28 points and 22 rebounds.
Yeah.
She won the Player of the Year award. Yeah, she is. This is the greatest women's basketball player of the season, by far. One of the best in South Carolina history. Aja Wilson's sitting there, of course, but you got to build Aaliyah Boston's statue right next to hers, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
South Carolina. Heck of a game for her. Destiny Henderson had 13 points in this one as well. And then Victoria Saxon had 6 points and 14 boards in this one. So South Carolina just holds off good North Carolina team. Deja Kelly got hers, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Carrie Littlefield had 9 points and 6 rebounds. And again, this is a North Carolina team that years ago was struggling. It was not a very good team at all. The comeback here, that's a big turnaround for them. But South Carolina, like I said, I thought was the best team all year, and they showed it against the Tar Heels.
Yeah, for sure. A heck of an effort from Boston and company to get the 69-61 win against North Carolina. So can't say much more there.
Yeah. And so the other side, Creighton, they had just knocked off Iowa in an upset. And then they're taking on Iowa State. And so you're wondering, can the Blue Jays keep it going? And they do, as they have a big third quarter, and they knock off the Iowa State Cyclones 76-68. Lauren Jensen has 10 points and 8 rebounds. Tatum Rimbeo has 19 points, 4 assists. Emma Ronsick only had 4 points and 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 points. But Morgan Malley, 21 points, 4 rebounds. Creighton shot 44% from deep in this one. Iowa State still had great games from Emily Ryan, Lexi Benarski, and Aubrey Jones. Just Ashley Jones. Just the 3-point shooting of Creighton, just able to pull away late and keep the Cinderella run alive.
Yeah, for sure. Creighton playing some great basketball and got the whole state of Iowa rooting against them for the Elite Eight.
And that hatred fueled the South Carolina Gamecocks. For the first time, I think Iowa fans agreed with South Carolina this year.
Maybe.
Using that hatred for a 30-point beatdown. South Carolina, they outscored the Blue Jays 23-9 in the second quarter, and don't look back as the Gamecocks roll over the Blue Jays. Boston had 19 points, 7 rebounds. That ended her double-double streak.
I do.
which is crazy. 27 games, she had double straight. And Victoria Saxton, though, she got up for 11 points and 11 rebounds. For her, Destiny Henderson, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Just an all-around team effort for just a butt whooping. Is what this was. Held Creighton, Creighton had Jensen got double figures, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So they made sure they held all Creighton's players in check. And South Carolina, again, number 1 overall seed, number 1 team all year. And they played like it in this one.
Yeah, they did. Creighton did not stand a chance in this one.
Yeah. It's just absolute butt whooping. So moving on to the Wichita bracket. Who would they play? We have Louisville and Tennessee. And this game I thought was going to be a lot closer, but Louisville kind of after a third quarter where it was pretty close, or a third quarter where Tennessee got back into it, Louisville able to pull away in the fourth for a 76-64 victory. Haley Van Lith with 23 points, 6 assists and 3 rebounds. Emily Ingsler, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Louisville just turning it on when they need to get past the very good Tennessee team.
Yeah, for sure. Louisville playing really good basketball, getting past a really good Tennessee team with a lot of history. So,
yeah, that still blows my mind. They're the only team that's made every single tournament. That's wild. But again, you forget Pat Summitt was there for a while. So
right.
And then you move on. You have another Cinderella, the South Dakota Coyotes taking on the Michigan Wolverines. This is a defensive battle, which is what South Dakota likes. Hannah Surgeon or Jervin Severt. I have no idea how you say her last name. She's their best player. She had 17 points and 8 rebounds. Had a good day, but really no one else could get going for the Coyotes. And it was Michigan at the end, able to pull away. Naz Hillman, she's a great player out of the Big Ten at 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Again, Stars take over. And the Stars took over for the Wolverines down the stretch, and they end the run of the Coyotes 52-49. But they got a run for South Dakota. I feel like it's been to about 5 or 6 tournaments in the past few years, just hasn't been able to win a game. But to get to the Sweet 16 finally, that's a big deal for South Dakota.
Yeah, definitely a great run for the Coyotes. Too bad they fell to the Wolverines, though.
Yeah. And so you had Louisville and Michigan in the Elite Eight. And it was all Louisville, especially toward the end. In the fourth quarter, the Cardinals outscored the Wolverines 17-7 in the fourth, 62-50 win. Van Lith with 22 points and 3 rebounds. Emily Ingsler only had 5 points, but 16 boards for her. As the Cardinals just, this is they got upset in the ACC tournament by Miami, so you didn't get to see them play NC State. And you kind of want to see that showdown, but they kind of proved that they are still one of the best teams in the country with this win.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, got choked up a little bit for whatever reason. Yeah, great game from Van Lith with 22 points. She was unconscious for sure. Ingsler, only 5 points. She was 1 of 9, so they kind of held her in check. She just had an off game, but 16 boards speaks volumes.
Yeah, Naz Hillman, though, Michigan, had a great game, 18 points, 11 rebounds. I think she's graduating, too. So I'm interested to see what happens with her in the WNBA moving forward. So that'll be a fun one to watch. So that sets up Louisville and South Carolina. On the other side of the bracket, the Spokane Regional, you've Stanford and Maryland, two really good, historically successful teams. But Stanford got a big first quarter, up 22-10, but Maryland charged back, outscoring the Cardinal 30-13 in the fourth. Just wasn't enough as the Cardinal win it over the Terps. Lexi Hall has 19 points, 3 assists, 9 rebounds. Haley Jones, 17 points and 10 rebounds and 6 assists. Maryland turns it on. Angel Reese had 25 points and 9 rebounds in this one. So the Terps didn't go away, but they only shot 15% from deep compared to Stanford, who they only shot 28% from deep, but 45% from the field. So
yeah,
just a slow start for the Terps. Just couldn't get it going. Again, you gotta be able to be consistent in this tournament.
Yeah, for sure. A heck of a game from both teams. But yeah, Stanford ultimately prevailing over a Maryland team with a lot of history.
So on the other side, you have Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State here, after upsetting LSU, had the lead early on the Longhorns, and what was a good game this entire time, but 66-63 win for Texas. Joanne Allen Taylor had 17 points, 3 assists in this one, with 7-11 from the field. Texas only shot 4 3-pointers, but made both of them, or made 2 of them. They kind of held Ohio State was scoring at will for a bit, but I think it was just one of those, comes down to the last shot, who can finish strong.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas was able to just finish strong with a big second and third quarter to sneak by the Buckeyes. It was a really fun game.
Yeah, definitely was. It was a great game.
In the Elite Eight, you have Stanford and Texas meeting up, 2 historically great schools in women's basketball. And Joanne Allen Taylor, 15 points, 2 rebounds still for Texas, but it wasn't quite enough as Haley Jones goes off, 18 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks for the Cardinal. Lexi Hull with 20 points and 3 rebounds as the Cardinal. Just too strong, too good for Texas. They pushed by the Longhorns 59-50 and move on to the Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, the Bridgeport Regional. This was probably the most fun regional of all of them, and the most fun Elite Eight and Sweet 16. We'll start NC State and Notre Dame, an ACC matchup. Notre Dame took NC State to the limit. It took a 20-point fourth quarter for the Wolfpack to win this one 66-63. Kai Crutchfield, 14 points, 4 steals. Alyssa Cunan, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and a steal. Just, again, stars showing up. Olivia Miles, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists for Notre Dame. Maddie Westbeld, 13 points, 8 rebounds. The only one that really was kind of a quiet game, kind of check, was Dara Mabry. She only had 9 points. 1 for 3 from deep and 1 rebound. So the Wolfpack held her in check, because he was the reasons they got this run, was her scoring. So NC State able to hold off a really good Irish team and get to the Elite Eight.
Yep.
Then, of course, on the other side, Sweet 16, UConn firing on all cylinders, and they did against Indiana. They roll over the Hoosiers 75-58. Paige Buchers with 15 points, Ozzie Flood with 13 points, Kristen Williams with 15 points. Just an overall even effort from the Huskies, and they just roll in this one. Even though Allie Patberg, solid game, 16 points and 2 rebounds on 7 of 9 shooting. So I hate for that. That's how her season ends, but still great job by the Hoosiers, I think, to kind of rebound after a couple of tough years. But UConn just way too strong for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, for sure. It's just UConn's world. We're living in it as far as this region goes.
So you get to the Elite Eight, and we get set for a big-time clash, UConn and NC State. We said that this was basically UConn's region to lose, and this was the championship we all kind of felt would happen here. As NC State, they're a 1 seed, but they are playing basically a road game against a really, really good UConn team that's finally gotten healthy. This game went back and forth. It goes to overtime, and then it goes to double overtime. Thanks to a big-time shot by the Wolfpack. Just big-time shots were hit, haymakers in this one. But UConn holds off NC State 91-87 in double OT. Ozzie Fudd, 19 points for UConn. Kirsten Williams at 21. But of course, Paige Buchers, that's the story. 27 points. Went 10 of 15 from the field, 6 rebounds and a block and an assist.
Yeah.
Just insane. Kai Crutchfield, though, was so clutch for NC State down the stretch with 12 points. Jakia Brown-Turner making an insane shot and 20 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. NC State might be the most cursed program of all time.
Yeah.
When it comes to team sports. Just in this year alone, they had baseball had to leave because of COVID in Omaha.
Yep.
When they had no losses, they had football had a chance at a 10-win season. Nope. because of COVID, and also lost to Wake Forest. And then this year, women's basketball, best season in a long time, lose to UConn in double overtime, and they had to go, of course, to Connecticut for that.
Yeah.
So just unlucky are the Wolfpack for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But still a heck of a season for NC State. And then, again, big time for UConn. Gino Ariama gets them to rebound after a tough start to the season after Paige Bueckers goes down. But the Huskies rebound and get to the Final Four once again.
Yeah, this game was amazing. If you didn't watch it, I feel very sorry for you.
Yeah, one of the best basketball games I've ever seen, for sure. So then you get the Final Four. On one side, we have South Carolina and Louisville. It's going to be kind of interesting to see. South Carolina is kind of a size versus size matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting to see which one would win. And South Carolina just won again. And Aaliyah Boston just goes off again. 23 points, 18 rebounds, 4 assists for her.
Mm-hmm.
Bria Bill has 12 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 2 blocks. Just insane. Destiny Anderson, 11 points, 4 assists. Only 4 or 12 shooting, but hit 3 free-pointers that are big down the stretch. Yeah. South Carolina to pull away in this one, and South Carolina just rolls in this one. Hold Haley Van Lith to just 9 points and 4 of 11 shooting. She did get 9 rebounds, though. And Emily Engsler gets hers, 18 points, 9 rebounds, and a block, but she took her 17 shots to get there.
Mm-hmm.
They only made 8 of them. So, again, South Carolina, just their size, again, all year I said this is the best team in women's college basketball, and they played like it.
Yeah, they definitely did. I was at a concert Friday night, so I didn't get to see a second of the game. But biggest takeaway for me, Bria Beal locking down Van Lith, only holding her to 9 points. So massive, and Leah Boston just going off again. She's so good.
Yeah. Then the other side, you have UConn and Stanford. A lot of history between these two teams meeting up. Of course, this is in Euchre's home state of Minnesota. So kind of a homecoming for her. And she has 14 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. And Vina Westbrook, who's really come on lately for UConn, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Olivia Nelson-Odata had 10 rebounds and 8 points. Just short double-double as UConn just gets an all-around effort. Haley Jones goes off for 20 points, 11 rebounds. But when you happen to get Cameron Brink, who's only playing 27 minutes, is having 15 points, they kind of got kept in check at Stanford in this one. And UConn able to pull away late and hold on for a 63-58 win.
Yeah. Great effort by UConn getting back to the title game, setting up exactly what I wanted, South Carolina versus UConn.
Yep, setting this up. Everybody's talking about UConn going to make a run. You kind of feel like South Carolina has just been quietly beating down everybody, and you were just wondering, well, this is going to happen again. And from the jump, it happens. South Carolina goes up 22-8 and doesn't look back. 64-49 win. Destiny Henderson, a career high, 26 points for her. She had 4 assists, 2 rebounds. Zaya Cook, 11 points in this one. Boston, 11 points and 16 rebounds and 3 assists and 2 blocks. She proved why she's the best player in all of women's college basketball. You love to see her, of course, also get back to where she was. Remember, she missed the game. She missed a chance at the tying shot against Stanford the year before in the Final Four. It just rimmed out at the end. She missed that shot. But this year, redemption for her as South Carolina just rolls in this one. Did not expect it to be this big of a win, but
no, me either.
Just an absolute beatdown of the Huskies.
Yeah, South Carolina played an amazing game, getting out to a 22. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. Getting out to a 22-8 lead after one. And UConn made their little run. They got a little run in the second quarter. Players started, coming together, hitting shot. Paige really started, getting hers. But South Carolina able to pull away late and get this dub. And I'm so happy for Aaliyah Boston because she, everybody saw that missed shot against Stanford, and everybody saw her crying. But now she's crying tears of joy and South Carolina's back on top. Dawn Staley, 2 national titles in 5 years, reloading, setting up for another big year next year, hopefully. But yeah, this South Carolina team was a lot of fun to watch. My biggest takeaways from this game, Kristen Williams and Ozzie Fudd combined for 5 points.
Yep.
Massive night from the South Carolina's defense, holding those 2 players to only 5 points. So only one in double figures for UConn was Paige, and she was 6 of 13. She had 14 points on 13 shots. So they held her efficiency down as well. So a heck of a game from South Carolina, and I'm so excited that they're national champs again.
Yeah, for sure. That's big time for them in this one. This season, incredible. South Carolina, 35-2. Their only 2 losses were on buzzer beater shots in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
One overtime to Missouri, and then Kentucky, I believe, was at the end of the 4th quarter, where they gave where Kentucky just went on an unreal run to come back in that one. But they beat NC State on the road. Battle for Atlantis, they beat Oregon and they beat UConn by double digits.
Yeah.
Beat Maryland at home, beat Duke on the road, beat Stanford at home. SC play, they beat LSU, beat Kentucky, beat Ole Miss by 19, beat Georgia on the road, beat Tennessee at home on College game day. And then NCAA tournament, destroy Howard, hold off Miami, beat North Carolina, roll over Creighton, and then put the smackdown on Louisville and UConn. 14-0 against the top 25.
Yeah.
Here. Just insane. They had to play 11 neutral site games, and they went 10-1, which is insane to think about. 9-1 away this year, 16-0 at home. This was a really good team.
Yeah.
And they just rolled over a lot of people, and this was the wire-to-wire best team in women's basketball, and so they deserved this title, and they did everything right. And shout out Dawn Staley keeping that going and getting another championship for her squad.
Yeah, for sure. Heck of a year.
So, basketball season overall was a lot of fun this year, I think. And, had some great tournaments, had some great endings, and a lot of fun. And we'll be interested to see what happens next year in college basketball for sure. Without Coach K, with some new coaches coming in, with some teams moving around, players moving around. Be interesting to see. So we'll move on to we're going to go to the NBA. We haven't checked on the NBA in a while, and Waffle tonight, as we're recording, the Lakers could be out of the playoffs completely.
God, I hope so. Oh man!
If they lose and the Spurs win, the Spurs are playing the Nuggets tonight, and the Lakers are playing the Suns. About an hour and a half between games there. Excuse me.
Bless you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know how that sounds in the recording, but I might keep it. But no, looking back, the Spurs, they play at the Nuggets at 9:00. The Lakers play the Suns at 10:30. Suns have already locked up the 1 seed, of course. But there's no LeBron. He's out. So I don't know who you're going to go to if you're the Lakers tonight.
We'll see.
You're going to need someone to step up for sure. But Grizzlies, talk about them and talk about them why they clinched the 2 seed and win the Southwest Division for the first time ever.
We love it.
Yeah, insane to think about that. The Grizzlies got this whole behind look back of ESPN, and they've done all this without Ja Morant. Battling an injury. They're kind of trying to keep him healthy.
It's ridiculous how good they are without Ja.
Before the playoffs, they're trying to keep him healthy. And they beat the Bucks 127-102. They beat the Nets 132-120 with Kyrie Irving, James Harden. And then they beat the Suns, who are fully healthy, playing everybody, 122-118. So it's not like, they're just playing, the bad teams in the NBA during the stretch. They are playing, and they beat the Warriors 123-95.
Yeah.
And so down the stretch, they have played great. They play the Jazz tonight on the road. haven't seen who's out for that one, but looking at the schedule remaining, there's that. They go to Denver, and they host New Orleans, and then host Boston. And that's how the season ends. You got to think for most of those games, guys are going to be sitting out to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, they have the added bonus of they get to wait and see who they'll play because they have play-in games.
Yep.
Now, but man, just crazy to think that the Grizzlies are second in the entire NBA and won their division.
Yeah,
it's just wild to think about that.
Yeah, it is. Memphis also riding the longest winning streak in the league right now, 7 in a row.
Yep.
Excuse me, for Memphis, the next closest is Atlanta, is on a 5-game win streak themselves. But the Lakers, 6 in a row, 6 losses in a row. You love to see it. God, I love it.
Yeah. If they get number 7 tonight and the Spurs win, they're done. And
please God.
Yeah, we need to see it. I want to see it happen. Playoff standings. Looking at first the East, Miami clinched their division. Don't think they clinched the one. They've not clinched the one.
No, they haven't yet.
Yeah. They're 51-28. Boston had a big time win streak. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. Boston was in the play-in games and then moved all the way up to the 1 seed, but they kind of had a little bit of a stretch. But they're 49-30, 2 games back in the 1 seed. They clinched the playoff spot. The Bucks are third, half a game behind them, and then the 76ers are half a game tied with the Bucks. The Bucks have the series win record right now to keep them ahead. The Bulls are just kind of floating around. The Bulls have not looked great in the back half, especially against good teams, and also apparently Lonzo Ball is still hurt.
Yeah,
and may not be back for a while, so that's going to hurt them for sure. They're tied. Basically, they have the tiebreaker of the Raptors for that 5 spot. The Cavs are in the play-in tournament right now at a 7 seed. They are about 2.5 games back to the Raptors. That's probably where they're going to end up, you'd think.
Yeah.
The Cavs. The Hawks are the 8 seed in that, and they're in a play-in tournament. And then the Charlotte Hornets have clinched a spot in the play-in tournament, which is pretty big, I feel like, for them.
Yeah.
They just got smacked by the 76ers the other night, but they have not looked horrible. They beat the Nets a couple of nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
They got wins over the Mavs down the stretch. So it's a fun team to watch for sure with LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, and all them. Hopefully they can build it together and get something going.
Yeah, I mean, if they win their next game, they can clinch I believe, a winning season, or well, in at least 500
Yeah,
season.
500 season, yeah.
So I wonder when's the last time that's happened for them.
That is very interesting. I need to look at that. But behind them is the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets down the stretch have just kind of not been great.
Yeah.
And again, of course, Kyrie finally got cleared to play home games, but still just have not been great. Okay, looking at the last 5 seasons for the Hornets, they have not had a winning record in the last 5 years, and it looks like 2015 was the last time they did. That was the last time they made the playoffs too. They went 48-34 that year and lost to the Heat in 7 games. So it's been a while since the Hornets.
Yeah.
So
it has.
As the Bobcats / Hornets, they've only had 3 winning seasons.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Now in the 90s, when they were the Hornets, when they were the original Hornets, they were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've only had 3 winning seasons since 2004, being the Bobcats / Hornets. So, including the, of course, 7-59 season with Bismack.
Yeah.
Gotta buy that merch.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But anyway, going back to currently, the Nets, they've clinched the play-in spot. So the East is all but decided. It's just the order now. Brooklyn Nets gotta be the biggest disappointment for sure.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at the 10th spot. They're trying to play their way out of it, but it's probably gonna be a little too late to play out of this play-in tournament.
Yeah.
So looking at teams that missed the playoffs, the Knicks All that momentum from last year. All the momentum, making the playoffs finally.
Trash franchise.
Gone. Poverty franchise.
Mm.
Wizards, they're eliminated. Pacers, they've been eliminated. The Pistons, and
Yuck.
Yeah. Magic,
Yuck.
yeah. 20 and 59 are the Magic. So they got 20 wins. They got the 20 wins. So we'll look at the 60 losses, probably.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eastern Conference all but decided, but as we look at the West, Phoenix is your 1 seed. They're 62 and 16. It's got to be up there with one of the best records of all time.
Yeah.
Depending on how it finishes out. And Memphis locks up the 2 seed at 55 and 23 right now. Golden State at the 3 and Dallas at 4. And those 2 teams could switch. Dallas has a shot to move up to the 3 seed if a couple games go their way and a couple don't for the Warriors. But separating 3 seeds 3 through 6 is only 3.5 games. So I mean that can flip flop. Nothing is decided there. Even for Minnesota's at 7. Denver's at 5, Utah's at 6, and Minnesota is at 7, the first team in the play-in. But they are only 5 games out of the 3 seed, but they are 4 games out of the 4 seed. So I'm guessing there is a shot that they could move all the way up to the 4 if they win there, they win out. But who knows? And then the Clippers have clinched a play-in spot. And then it gets interesting. So obviously, right now the Lakers are still in. But they're on the outside looking in. They are 2 games out of the play-in spot with New Orleans at 9 and San Antonio at 10. So New Orleans, all the talk obviously about Zion. I saw a report today saying that they think he's going to play. So that'll be fun. But also them trading and getting McCollum in there has really helped them out. And looks like they're gonna make the play-in tournament unless they just absolutely implode and the Lakers win a game or 2. And San Antonio getting in there. Greg Popovich still doing his thing, one of the best ever. But the Lakers outside looking in, love it. 2013 All-Star team is 2022 losers. Yeah. LeBron, look, I'll give credit where credit's due. LeBron still playing at an unbelievably high level. Like it's unreal what he's doing. But everybody else, trash.
Yeah.
And your eliminated Western Conference teams, the rabid fan base of the Sacramento Kings. Rest in peace. Portland without Dame, trash. Oklahoma City with nobody except Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, trash.
Yeah.
And Houston, 20 and 59, tied right now with the Magic for the worst record. Who's going to win? Who's going to win the worst record in the NBA? Not that it matters because the draft lottery is stupid, but
yeah. RIP to both those whoever gets drafted.
Yeah.
They
need a lot more than your stupid self coming in here.
Yeah. I'm looking at now. I'm trying to think about what do the Lakers do next year because I don't know if you blow it up again and try to move around. You got the money to, of course,
man.
But you look around. Your best free agents available are Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, Kyrie Irving, which could have Kyrie and LeBron team back up again.
Whack.
DeAndre Ayton. Miles Bridges is a free agent, but he's a restricted free agent, so it'll be interesting. And then after that, I mean, you have Colin Sexton, Jonas Valanciunas, who has been great for the Pelicans. Russell Westbrook's going to be a free agent again, but I mean, it hasn't worked out for him. So your most coveted free agent is probably Josef Nurkic for the Blazers.
Yeah.
And, you got to wonder if the Blazers are just going to blow it up because, we trade McCollum, Dame's been hurt. Let's just blow it up. So maybe you try to get a trade for Dame and get Nurkic.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, LeBron's going to control all that. So
right.
What happens there. But yeah, no, very disappointing for the Lakers, but I love to see it because I'm a hater and I love it. So
yes, I'm absolutely a hater. I'm a hater of all things Los Angeles Laker.
Yep.
I even hated Kobe Bryant, so come at me.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, NBA, interesting to see what's going to happen if the Lakers don't make it. They got that Mickey Mouse title in the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they got. So, interesting to see what happens there. But this week is the addition of a new sport. That's right. Major League Baseball is back this Thursday, the day you're listening to this, hopefully. And the Atlanta Braves, again, World Series champions. Love to see it. Love to hear it. Going to be on national television at 8 o'clock. Have the banner ceremony. Got the new gold jerseys. Have you seen those?
Yes.
The gold
they're great.
Those are absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
New look Braves, of course. No Freddie Freeman. Him getting traded. Or him getting signing with the Dodgers. So that's going to be interesting. You got Matt Olson in there for the Braves now, who has had a heck of a spring training, though. Give him that. He's been hitting bombs, so that's great to see there. But you have, you still got this great pitching staff. Ian Anderson, Max Fried, Kenley Jansen, Tyler Matzik, AJ Minton, Charlie Morton, Sean Newcomer, Darren O'Day, Will Smith, Kyle Wright, Huskar Yanoa. That's just a beast of a pitching staff.
Yeah, it is.
And then, of course, you're not going to have Ronald Acuna available for opening day. But he was just put on the 10-day IL, which means you got to think by opening day, it's going to be about a week.
Yeah.
You got to think he's going to be back sooner rather than later, which is good. After getting hurt last year. So with him back, hopefully, you have Eddie Rosario back and Marcelo Ozuna, who you didn't have at the end of the year last year. All those guys back. I think the Braves are still a contender for sure. It's a tough division, of course. The National League East, a very tough division. But, yeah, I think this could be a very good season again for the Braves.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am very excited to watch it.
Yeah. So just looking around, we'll just kind of look. In the AL, I think some teams that you need to look out for. Yankees, of course, they had some bolsters up their team this year. They have Aaron Judge, of course, is always good. They just hit all the time and they hit everything out of the park.
Yeah.
Seems like for the Yankees, they are a very, very good team. In the Central, you gotta get used to the Cleveland Guardians. That throws me off every time.
Yeah, I'm still not knowing how I feel about that.
Yeah, but the White Sox still probably a good best team in that division. That division feels like a bunch of mediocrity and the White Sox.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. The AL West, probably the most brutal division in baseball, because you have the Angels with Ohtani and Trout, and the two best teams in all of baseball, and they may not sniff the postseason.
Right.
Which is insane because the Angels have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, the Astros are still good. The A's have kind of moved stuff around. The Mariners making some plays this offseason, trying to end that postseason drought, longest in pro sports history. And Texas Rangers, of course, are still going to be pretty good. So that'll be interesting. NL East, you have, of course, the Braves, and then the Mets made some moves. The Phillies are going to be very good still. The Nationals, you got to think, going to be good. And then the Marlins, the Marlins are here. And the Marlins will try, even though they did get Aguilar. So,
yeah.
It makes some moves for sure. And then, of course, Jazz Chisholm on that team is always a fun guy to watch. The NL Central, both Central divisions just feel like they don't know what they're doing half the time. Because you have the Cubs who got rid of everybody, the Reds who got rid of everyone, the Pirates who are just bad, and the Cardinals they got Albert Pujols back. Now he's old.
Yeah.
They got Albert Pujols back. So the Brewers are fine, I guess. Both those Central divisions just feel like no one wants to win.
Yeah.
Or they don't know how to yet. So that's interesting. Then the NL West, of course, you got to talk about the LA Dodgers. That lineup is disgusting. you have your lineup could be Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, Justin Turner, Trey Turner, Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, and Max Muncy. And then pitching staff, of course, you have Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw, Julio Urias as your starters, and then Craig Kimbrell's your closer. So that's this is a good team. Biggest fear, NLCS Game 7. Oh, here's a home run from Freddie Freeman to win it.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, oh no. And in Truist Park, it's like, oh great, break my heart. Why don't you? Yeah, so we're probably on the path for that to happen. For it to be NLCS, probably Braves and Dodgers, and then the AL is so wide open. But I mean, it could be Astros, could be Yankees, could be Red Sox. They get hot. So, but it should be a very, very exciting season for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to baseball, but maybe that'll wear off after 2 weeks, like normal. But
yeah, and then in the summer, nothing's on. Get real to the Braves again.
Right.
Yeah. So that's is MLB. College baseball. Waffle, South Carolina, good.
No.
I haven't even seen how they've done this weekend against Missouri.
They lost the series.
Oh, great. So there's all that good momentum from beating Vanderbilt.
They suck.
Beat Vanderbilt and then lost to Presbyterian.
They suck.
Hey, listen, they have North Carolina tomorrow. That's going to be a win. And then they play Georgia this weekend. They're going to win that series. Oh, then they got North Florida next Tuesday. I can tell you who's winning that one right now.
The Ospreys.
Yep.
Bet on it right now.
Yep. Go ahead and bet your money on North Florida to win that game, especially if South Carolina wins that series against Georgia, because they will. Yes. Meanwhile, Clemson, they have not won a single ACC series after starting off 14-0. So that's a good start.
Not really sure what's going on there.
Yeah, they're playing Georgia right now. They're up 3-1. Again, it's a midweek, so you can't really tell what's happening there. But Clemson's also had to play Miami and NC State in 2 of those series, which are 2 of the best teams in the ACC. So I'll give them some of the benefit of the doubt. But, I mean, they got swept by Pitt. They go to Notre Dame and have to go to Wake Forest. It's not going to be easy at all. So they you got to win some of these right now. Your 14-0 streak is well behind you, and they're 4-9 since then. So not looking great for Clemson, but should be a lot of fun down the stretch in that. And finally, Waffle will close out with some golf talk and the Masters this week. Going to be a lot of fun. Of course, it's the greatest golf tournament of all time. It is. You've got. Everybody makes fun of you feel a lot better when you turn on the TV. It's like 1 o'clock in here. Hello, friends. It's Jim.
Yeah.
And you're just ready to go. It's like perfect. It always seems like the weather is really great there. Holds off no matter what, and it's just a lot of fun. This year, of course, also going to be interesting because Tiger Woods, after his car crash last year, says he's going to play. Interesting to see. He's been having his practice rounds this week. He's locked in for a 10:30 start on Thursday. And I don't know how he's going to do, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Remember that immaculate year a few years ago when he came back and he won it.
In 2019.
2019 when he won it, that's still one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Just him walking up and all the people following him winning it and hugging his son. Jim Nance, smartest broadcasting decision Jim Nance did was be quiet and let the moment go. It's one of the most emotional moments in sports I've ever seen. So, I don't know if he can replicate that. I don't know how well he's feeling, but this could be an interesting tournament. It could be a magical one for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I always look forward to the Masters, and I do watch. I would say I watch a good bit of golf, like typically Sundays, in the afternoon when it gets to the summertime, like I'm probably going to watch golf.
Yeah.
But the Masters is like can't miss TV. It's always great. some interesting pairings that we have on Monday. So we got Kevin Kistner, South Carolina boy from Aiken. Him, Daniel Berger, and Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood, a guy who's had some good finishes. He's had some good finishes in other tournaments, but he hadn't gotten it together. His best finish in the Masters is tied for 17th, but I would pick him as like a sleeper for this tournament, but they're teeing off together. Bryson DeChambeau will tee off right after them at 10:23, and then right after that, it's Tiger Woods. And Tiger is playing with Louis
Oosthuizen.
Yeah, Oosthuizen and Joaquin Niemann. I love this thing on here because it shows you if you click on Tiger like on masters.com.
Yeah.
Obviously he's won 5 Masters, 97, 2001, 2, 5, and 2019. But it tells you how much money he's won just off the Masters tournament, and it's $9.5 million. That's just off the Masters. He's played in 23 Masters. He's made the cut 22 times. He's played 90 total rounds, and his lowest round in the Masters is 65. His highest rounds is 77. So very cool. Very cool there. But yeah, I mean, Tiger's, we'll see how he's feeling. And I don't know if I would pick him to win, but I'm sure people in Vegas are going to flood bets in, especially if he comes out with a 2-day total and he's like in contention. Like they're gonna flood bets in for Tiger.
Oh yeah, sure.
Matsuyama, I believe Hideki Matsuyama is the defending, the defending Masters champ.
He tees off right after Tiger, so
tees off right after Tiger, and some other ones. My boy Tony Finau, God, I want Tony Finau to win this tournament so freaking bad. His best finish is tied for 5th in 2019. He's made over $1 million on the Masters though because he's goated. But he tees off later that morning with Adam Scott and Scotty Scheffler at 10:56. Lucas Glover, Clemson boy.
Yep.
Teeing off at 11:29. And where was the last one? Everybody's favorite Patrick Reed teeing off at 12:24.
Yep.
Bubba Watson and his pink driver will be going off shortly thereafter. And also Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, and Matthew Fitzpatrick will round us out at 2:03 as the last pairing to go out. Also before them at 1:52, Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland, and Xander Schauffele will be teeing off as well. And, you know, it would be really nice to see Jordan Spieth have a good outing because he took the golf world by storm.
Yeah.
And then he has fallen off so hard. And obviously he had that Masters collapse in, 2017?
I think so, yeah.
Like that, where he had like a 12 on a hole, ridiculous. I would like to see him do good. Zalatoris, so the young guy to watch out for.
Yeah,
Zalatoris
last year.
Yeah, teeing off at 141 with Patrick Cantlay and John Rahm. And at 130, Dustin Johnson, Billy Horschel, and another young guy, Colin Morikawa, PGA champ, I believe, last year, is teeing off before them. So I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What's wise about Zalatoris, you talk about that shows the money he won. He's entered one tournament and won $1.2 million.
Yeah.
Because he finished second. That's insane.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. Seeing him and seeing him going back and forth last year was really cool. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Interesting to see, of course, who pulls up and is able to kind of make something going, kind of get famous. It just seems like there's always a Masters moment, where something crazy happens that y'all think about. So that'll be a lot of fun this week. So you have that and Major League Baseball opening day on the same day, which is wild to see. So
it's gonna be fun.
Yep. Very, very excited for this week. So yeah, I think we've covered everything. Waff, what is if you have any top plays you want to talk about and you gotta show up?
Yes, I have one. And I'm having to swallow my pride here because Caleb Love's shot to beat Duke to bury Coach K as much as I hate it, it deserves to be talked about. The kid rising up, hitting it at the best time for North Carolina, and just cementing another memory that is etched into every Duke and North Carolina fan for life of this fantastic rivalry. Just further adding fuel to the fire. It's a rivalry that's never going to die, regardless of who's coaching and how good the teams are. It does not matter. But yeah, Caleb Love shot to bury Coach K, albeit sad. An amazing play.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to have fun. I don't want to pick from here. There were a lot of wild plays. I'll go ahead and say there was a play between Carson Newman baseball. Henry Jackson. There's like a little incline at the baseball stadium at Carson Newman in foul territory. He runs all the way up in right field and makes a diving catch to get an out. He's had a heck of a season. Had a walk-off home run against Limestone the other night and won that one. So that is pretty wild to see. Also, I meant to mention this stat way back, but South Carolina in the women's tournament beat Miami, beat Creighton, and beat North Carolina.
Yep.
Kansas beat Creighton, beat Miami, and then beat North Carolina.
That's so crazy.
Wild.
So crazy.
Almost all of them were about the same seed as they were in both tournaments, except North Carolina. I think that was the biggest difference. I think maybe Creighton and Miami, you could swap like one spot.
Yeah.
And then for North Carolina, they were like 5 in the women. So that's just wild.
Yes, that is so crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's going to do it. Waff, anything you just want to plug, talk about, throw out there to people?
No, not a whole lot. I did go to a concert Friday night, which was pretty gas. I drove 3.5 hours to get there. In Greensboro, North Carolina. Saw Fit for a King, Silent Planet, Hollow Front, Avoid, and our boys in Witwither who are down here from South Carolina. So very good show. Fit for a King killed it. I had a great time. I also got to try Sheets.
Oh yeah,
Sheets gas station for the first time. It was great. I got exactly what you told me to get. I got tenders and I got a burger because I hadn't ate in 12 hours and it was 11 o'clock at night and I was like, why not? I got the tenders with the boom boom sauce, and the Big Ma's burger was very good as well. But here's my thing. Here's my thing. QT is still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love QT to death because QT would be the superior gas station in my eyes if they just had made to order food at all hours.
Yes.
And a menu as big as Sheets.
Mm-hmm.
The menu at Sheets is massive.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's available all night, which really sets it apart as it being like a restaurant. But QT's drink options blow Sheets out of the water, 100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like just being a place to shop overall, at least from the one that I went to in Greensboro, I thought QT was a lot better in that respect. But the made to order food is a definite difference maker. But Sheets was dope. I pulled up, somebody was getting arrested. It was beautiful.
That's how you know it's high quality, folks.
We love Greensboro. Also, I was in Greensboro watching a concert, but at the same time, my favorite band of all time, Slipknot, was also playing in Greensboro, and I had no idea. So what are the odds?
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. So yeah, a lot of fun, of course, that weekend. We have had a lot of fun, whether you're going to concerts, sporting events, watching the Masters, watching baseball, everything going on. We'll be right here to recap it on Waffle and Richard when we meet next week. So have a great time, and we'll see y'all next week.